welcome back to part 3, guys. And my calculation was wrong. I won't be able to. If I upload four videos, 15 minutes long each, none of them won't be able to have standardized this. Meaning, I'm gonna be making probably like 6 or 7 videos long. Stay tuned, because this might be a compilation. Might be not. Let's get back into the video.
Was fairly open about being a zoo and having her first time with her dog. Now, there was never any actual evidence to prove these allegations, but she did have a public fur affinity account, which is a platform to post furry art on. And on there, she did upload multiple drawings of German shepherds with various degrees of lewdness. And she drew herself as a dog doing things with German shepherds. The captions also say stuff like, G-sheps are so handsome, just can't resist, alongside some other comments, which does indicate that she at least had fantasies about this type of stuff. Like, who would genuinely make these drawings and put themselves in these situations just for fun? And the worst thing is, she actually owned a German shepherd as a pet at that time, which makes this whole situation just even more disturbing. Lucky also had a very long history of treating her pets very badly and neglecting them, with a pattern of adopting or purchasing pets just to abandon them when they became too difficult to handle. The document that covered all of this spread like a wildfire, and in order to keep DHC from losing sales and going under, they did a ton of things to try to disprove this, such as making tweets, video statements, and going on podcasts. But all of these attempts weren't enough to disprove the mountains of testimonies that the document had. But somehow, despite all the outrage and hate that Lucky and the company received, the operation is still running and making sales till this day. Zelda Wolf, aka Aaron Thomas Usury, spent a lot of his time on DeviantArt, a relatively normal art-sharing platform where he would post art of his furry identity. Around September of 2014, though, he would meet these two 12-year-old girls who liked his art. And yes, it goes exactly where you think it'll go. He could have just said thank you and that's it, but instead he decided to talk to both of them. Their relationship started relatively friendly, talking about art and their problems and stuff, but eventually...
Okay, it started off normal, and then...
turned more and more inappropriate as they moved from DeviantArt to Skype and Google Hangouts to keep in touch. After some time, it reached a point where he convinced the girls to send pictures and videos of themselves to Aaron. And of course, he would do the same as well. Now, for whatever reason, he also decided to send a video of him having relations with his dog to the 12-year-old girls. This relationship would go unnoticed for months, until the mother of one of the girls actually discovered their videos and chat logs and reported it to the police. On April 11th, 2015, the police raided Aaron's...
What have I just heard? He recorded himself having intercourse with his dog and then sent the video to the two 12-year-olds. I feel bad for those 12-year-olds. Those 12-year-old girls. I genuinely feel bad for them. When I saw the Devin, or whatever his name was, having relational intercourse and raping his own dog and recording it and sending a video to them, they must have been terrified, scared, confused, and traumatized at the same exact time. I might call that emotion. Yeah, I'm gonna call all those emotions mixed together into one emotion. I'm gonna call that... I can't call it fear. I'm gonna call it traumatization. Yeah, traumatization. That's what I'm gonna call it. Traumatization. Traumatization is what you feel when you get scared. Is when you're scared. No, when you're traumatized. Sad while you're being traumatized, and while you're stressed, while crying and traumatized. That's what it's going to be. Termination. Not termination or terrorization. Termination. Get to doing it. And that's what that is. Okay, paper. Termination. Termidi. 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 D-A-T-I-O-N. Termination. There, I just created a whole new emotion.
Home and seized all of his devices, such as laptops and phones, etc. And they found all the evidence they needed, and so he was arrested on April 12th and sentenced to 17 years. So for once, somebody was actually punished for their crimes, which unfortunately isn't the case for the next person. Court Kitty, aka Gabriel Sickle, is a 30-year-old furry who has been in the community for years. He makes music and is kind of a dancer, I guess, but he isn't actually known for any of these artistic endeavors of his. He actually made his first waves within the furry community because of his smell. His fursuit apparently reeked so bad that people were actively avoiding him at conventions. It got so bad that somebody even put a note on his door that literally just says stinker. And given that people walk around with a literal mask on their head at these conventions, which makes smelling things a lot harder, this was an achievement for sure. Now, despite all of that, he actually managed to get married, with of course a furry-themed wedding, and he became a father as well. And this is where his first serious controversy begins. Once he actually had a son, he decided to bring him to a baby fur meetup. A baby fur is essentially a furry who likes to roleplay as a younger character or baby. This community also has a lot of common with the ABDL community, which stands for Adult Baby Diaper Lover, which are adults who like to wear baby clothes and diapers. Obviously now, this can probably be something innocent and stuff, but there's no denying that non-safe for work activities are very present within these communities. So bringing your actual infant child to such a meetup would be very, very disturbing. Luckily, he decided to not go through that because of all the backlash he got from that idea. He himself justified it by saying that
Good. He's the actual, out of every furry that we came and discussed about, he's the actual one who actually thought. He actually stopped and thought and thinked before he did it. So he's the smart one.
the idea of bringing an infant child to a baby for a meetup would be pretty funny, and that his intentions were innocent. Well, Court Kitty would also be caught following multiple non-safe for work cup accounts on Twitter. Cup referring to baby animals. And now combine this with non-safe for work. Yeah, you kind of get it, right? So he definitely had some kind of attraction to younger beings. On top of that, he also commissioned baby fur art of his own son, which leaves even a worse aftertaste. Now remember when I said he got married? Well, his wife would divorce him just 3 years after because of exactly these reasons, and some more. During the divorce and fight for custody of the children, his wife would point out that he had bookmarked a guide on having relations with dogs. Yes, a tutorial on how to make love to your dog. And he had also saved the Zoozatis website. Zoozatis being people who derive pleasure from hurting animals. Now he would use the excuse of saying, I was just curious though, and pointed out that he would never actually engage in that type of stuff, which doesn't really hold up when his wife also pointed out that she walked in on him when he and his dog were doing things with peanut butter. If you don't know what that means, dogs like to lick peanut butter. Gabe would also straight up admit to his wife that he had relations multiple times with dogs, which isn't far-fetched, because he admitted himself.
The safe thing he would have done is just scooped up a spoonful of peanut butter and slap and just rub that baby on the paw of his fursuit, and then let the doggy lick it. But we all know that wasn't peanut butter. We all know that wasn't peanut butter. Dogs do like peanut butter, and dogs do like peanut butter, but they also like shit too. They like human feces too, and their own feces too. So, surprise, surprise, that might have not even been peanut butter.
That he enjoys videos of cats mating, and followed and was friends with a ton of furries who were proven to be zoozatists, and straight up just PDF files, and they were actually convicted of their crimes, such as Crowley, who will come up in just a second. He also talked to a 17-year-old when he was 27, Dr. Disrespect style, and a few more other things. Now, Gabriel still tries to defend all of these allegations and still remains active on social media, even though the entire furry community has essentially shunned him. Mr. Teriyaki and Acid Rain Cloud are a couple in the furry community, and at least Teriyaki would be known for his dance performances during conventions or on YouTube. But both of them would actually rise to semi-celebrity status after one particular conversation was leaked. On August 22nd, 2023, Soul Smoothie would post a chat between their partner and Acid Rain Cloud, where Acid Rain Cloud reveals one very disturbing thing Acid and Mr. Teriyaki like to do in bed. Now, I'm nobody to judge, but I'm definitely gonna judge what they've been doing. Acid reveals that they like to play with fish. Essentially, what they would do is fill Acid Rain Cloud with water and fish, inside. Yeah, some messed up stuff. They would then engage in the act, and most fish would not make it. And the ones that do make it get put back in the bowl, just waiting until they decide to do it again. The self-snitching at this point ends with, "It sounds kinda harsh to the fish, but it's kinda amazing." This does indeed not sound amazing. Now let's get into the darkest and most disturbing furries roaming this planet. Carol the Wolf was a very popular furry YouTuber. He's been part of the furry community since 2012. Probably before some of y'all were even born. He was also in a Shane Dawson video, where he was interviewed about his life as a furry, and he was one of the people who made this whole thing more mainstream and portrayed it as just a hobby instead of something weird. But of course, he wouldn't be in this iceberg if things didn't take a very, very dark turn in September of 2018. That month, some of Carol's Telegram logs were leaked, and if y'all know anything about Telegram, some sus behavior goes down there. Those chat logs allegedly showed him involved in some pretty disturbing stuff. It basically revealed that he was a part of a circle of furries who participated in not only zoo, but also necrophilia, animal torture, and discussions of being attracted to minors, which is all very, very...
Wait, what does necro-loving mean? What does necro-loving? Okay, so people also watch about sun, penetration, loose signal, 100 bars of glass, Lance Cross, Rose Cross, Lost Central, Life Forest, and Sight, Life Premise, Percent, Some Sales, Sign Head, St. Pierre's Cross. I have no idea what the hell.
very illegal. The original leak came from Zudin, somebody who was a part of that circle, and a self-proclaimed zoo. But he
I
himself
don't know what necro-loving means. Go search it up yourself.
was so disturbed by all of that he just had to leak it, so you can imagine what was going on. The chat contained Caro and other members of the group talking about doing it with animals that are not alive anymore. He describes how he prefers animals who are already not breathing instead of turning them into this state just for the sake of performing what they want to perform. And a ton of graphic videos were also leaked. And quite a lot of them depict furries inside that group doing the most disturbing things to animals even imaginable. There were so many crimes being admitted in that chat by just Caro alone, such as him doing things to his dog, Coda, and feeling guilty after he passed away. These types of allegations will obviously destroy a person's career, and before those leaks he was one of the big faces of the furry community, and so the internet did a lot of digging to see if the claims were actually true. And Caro obviously denied all of these allegations by saying that he was hacked, and it was all fake. Communities such as the 4chan community and Kiwi forums analyzed every single message and video that was sent in there. And it would turn out that the Caro that was in the group chat talked about so many intricate details of his life that it would be almost impossible to fake. But one of the biggest pieces of evidence that would prove that Caro was almost 100% part of his group chat and this community would be the Beast Forum, an absolute vile website dedicated to zoo talking about how they have relations with animals and giving each other advice on that type of stuff. One of the profiles that was active on this very website was called the Dogman 2, just one out of these thousands of registered accounts. But something about this profile was different. On January 22nd, 2012, so way before those leaks would even surface, the Dogman would post a picture of a dog that looked eerily similar to a dog that Caro posted on his public fur affinity page. But if you actually look at the dates, Carol's dog was posted on the forum months before it appeared on any public social media of his, so there was no way that the Dogman 2 just ripped off the image off of Carol's page. His other posts on Beast Forum also aligned with the exact timeline of Carol's life. For example, when he moved to a college in Pittsburgh. There was a post from the Dogman asking to meet other zoophiles in the Oakdale area, and coincidentally, Oakdale is a suburb of Pittsburgh. Once people started noticing this suspicious pattern, Carol deleted all of the photos of his dog from his Fur Affinity account. Carol was obviously panicking and trying to erase evidence. The netizens then found a video of a furry having relations with their dog.
Aww, that's 15 minutes old.